Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Danielle Fisher, and I'm the event manager here at Eco Canada. And today's session is called Royal Roads Presents the Graduate Certificate in Science and Policy of Climate Change and the Masters in Environmental Practice Programs. Before we start, I would like to take a moment to recognize the traditional Indigenous lands where Eco Canada's office is based in Calgary. At Eco Canada, we're committed to working towards respectful acknowledgement, collaboration, and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples across Canada. This starts with acknowledging our honor and privilege to live and work within the Treaty 7 territory. Today, we're presenting from the city of Calgary, home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Regions 5 and 6. We would also like to take this time to acknowledge traditional territories and oral practices of the Niitsitapi, home of the Blackfoot Confederacy, which includes the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina and Goodstoney, which include Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. And I would like everyone to just add into the chat where you're coming from. So just put into the chat exactly where you're located here in Canada, and we'd love to hear from you. Before we start, there are a few housekeeping guidelines for today's session to ensure that everyone can enjoy and participate in our session effectively. All participants are muted, so please check your audio settings to ensure that you can hear us properly. If you are experiencing any technical issues, please use the question box inside of Eco Canada, the organizer, and I'll do all that I can to resolve the issue. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be made available on demand to you within the next 24 hours. Everyone who registered for the webinar will receive an email with a link to the video. Any questions that you have about the presentation or today's topic can be submitted through the chat box or question box. We will have dedicated time after the presentation to answer any questions from the audience. Finally, we really want to know what you think about our webinars and how we can keep improving. You'll be sent a short survey after the webinar ends. Please let us know what you think or if you have any comments or suggestions about the webinar. Eco Canada's vision is to build the world's leading environmental workforce. Eco Canada seeks to help environmental workers succeed at each step of their career journey. To do this, Eco Canada has developed programs tailored to individuals at different stages of their career. For those looking to enter the environmental workforce, Eco Canada provides training through the BEAR program and accreditation for environmental programs at post-secondary institutions. Eco Canada also provides opportunities for new workers to break into the environmental sector through wage funding for co-op students and recent post-secondary graduates. For those already employed as environmental workers, Eco Canada provides the environmental professional and environmental professional in training certifications and EPT students. Lastly, Eco Canada provides opportunities for those with vast experience as environmental workers to provide guidance and direction to Eco Canada's products and programs through advisory committees and emeritus membership. I would like to introduce you to our speakers for today. First, we have Dr. Leslie King. She's a professor, program head, and director at the Canadian Centre for Environmental Education at Royal Roads University. We'll also hear from Rhett Ralkoff. He's the manager of the School of Environment and Sustainability at Royal Roads. We also have Rob Newell, who is Canada Research Chair at the School of Environment and Sustainability, and Dr. Liza Ireland, the BEP Student Mentor and Associate Faculty. So I'm going to hand it over to the speakers now. Rhett, you can take it away.
Thanks, Danielle. And yeah, I apologize if it looks like I'm looking off to the side. My screen is over here. So I'd just like to acknowledge that the campus, Royal Roads campus, where I am today, is located on the traditional lands of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples. So that's the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. So I'd like to give gratitude for being able to live and work and learn here, where the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, faculty, and staff come together. So in honor of the Songhees and Esquimalt ancestors, we say Haichkasiyam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody for being here. I'm Leslie King. I'm the program head of these environmental practice programs and the grad certificate in the science and policy of climate change. So we're just going to do a little overview of Royal Roads, and then some program specific information for the master's program and the graduate certificate. And then I'll pass it off to Rhett for the application process. And then we'd love to hear your questions. And if you have questions while we're going along, please just write them in the chat or the question and answer thing, which I don't know where it is, but at any rate, Daniel will help with that. And don't hesitate to ask anything that you would like. And at the end, we'll share our contact information. So if you have questions remaining after the webinar, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Next slide, please. Rhett, would you like to do this?
Sure, sounds good. Thanks, Leslie. So why might you choose Royal Roads? So we do kind of things different here, and our programs are a little different. One of those things, as you can see, we see life as a qualification. So that sort of ties into our flexible admission. We consider work experience, not just academic, when we're considering students for our programs. We have cohort systems, smaller sizes, so professors will know your name. Like we said, learning based on life, connections for life. That's another thing that I always stress for students with the cohort model. You make great connections with fellow students who are practitioners and working in the field already. Same thing with your professors and instructors. They're scholar practitioners. So they also are people who are working in the field and have that experience. So you really, in addition to your education, build a great network while you're here. And so, yeah, we do things a little bit differently. We've had great feedback from alumni saying that Royal Roads has positively influenced their personal and professional lives. The alumni say that they've been well supported by staff. We have a strong staff component also that's always on hand to answer questions and guide you through the program. So when it comes to universities across Canada, we always rate very highly for alumni feedback across these metrics. So got some really positive things that are done a little bit differently here that's unique to Royal Roads.
Keep going, Rhett.
Okay, yeah, sure. So also in addition here, Royal Roads is a change maker campus. So the Royal Roads Changemaker Education is an innovative approach to education that prepares students as they address world problems, encourage others, and act for the goodwill of all. So I encourage you to take a look at the Changemaker campus. If you're not familiar with it, you can check it out online. So
Yeah, we're one of the very few Canadian institutions who are part of this international network of changemaker universities. And the photograph there actually shows our offices in the Sherman Gen building. Now, these courses are all totally online, but I do hope that if you take the courses and the programs, that you'll end up coming and visiting us, perhaps even for graduation. This is a completely renovated building that was the old stable and mews for the Dunsmuir estate that Royal Roads is now our campus. Thanks. Next slide, please. Okay, I'll take it from here. So we offer the Master in Arts and the Master in Science in Environmental Practice. It's a graduate program, and this is really for people who are breaking into the environmental field, which of course, as you know, is burgeoning and has all kinds of different opportunities. As well as people who've been in the field for some time and are coming back for an upgrade in their qualifications. Next slide, please. So the program goal is to provide flexible graduate education for highly skilled environmental professionals seeking upgrading or advanced credentials, as well as people who are breaking into the field, leading to a range of environmental leadership careers or career advancement. Emphasis on flexible here. This is probably one of the most flexible programs at Royal Roads because we really want you to pursue your interests in this program. And you can do that by the choice of your courses, the way you choose to complete the program, how fast or slow you go through the program. It's not dictated that you have to take any given courses at any given time, other than the initial two courses, one of which Liza teaches, Environmental Practice 500, and the final capstone course, one of which Liza also teaches, the practicum course. And we'll get to Liza in a little bit. So it is an extremely flexible program, and it's basically built to accommodate the the schedules, the responsibilities, the obligations of people who are working or who live in communities and have all kinds of family and community responsibilities that make it difficult for them to come to a university campus for their master's program. Next slide, please. Okay, now this is, as I said, is a fully online program. It's 30 credits. Part-time, you can do this program part-time or full-time. So you can take up to 3 courses a semester or just 1 course a semester. If you do 1 course, of course, the program ends up being longer, but it's normally completed in 2 to 5 years. Many students do it in 2 years or even less with good planning. So the program aligns with the Eco-Canada occupational standards for the environmental sector. So it also prepares students for environmental professional certification. And I think that's important in the job market. It also promotes online skills and competencies. And I like to say that this is sort of a byproduct of the program, which is that you really get familiar with up-to-date online competencies because all of the professors use up-to-the-minute technical resources in their courses. Next slide, please. Okay, so at the end of the program, students choose a research paper or a practicum to complete the program. This is really important because it's another part of the flexibility. So if you choose a research paper, you can pursue an idea that you maybe have had throughout the program, or a particular interest that you have, a problem that you want to solve to do your research paper on. And this course is 2 semesters long, so it gives you a good opportunity to really delve into something that you're interested in. The practicum is great because it gives you professional experience, possibly in an organization that you're not now working in, or a field that you would like to work in later. And you also get to take 3 courses, if you wish, at the University of Denver. I don't know how popular this option is now that our countries are at war, but at any rate, you do have the opportunity to take courses at the University of Denver, and this is especially important if you're interested in the American regulatory framework, etc. And one of the best parts of this program is that you can get a double credential. So you can include the graduate certificate in science and policy of climate change as part of the MEP program. That graduate certificate is 3 courses or 9 credits, and those credits go towards your master's. And when you complete it, you get both the master's degree and the graduate certificate, which is great. I think I'll pause at this point and ask Liza to say a word about the 500 and the practicum, and Rob to say a word about the introductory climate course in the climate certificate. Liza, take it away.
Thanks so much, Leslie. So when you join the MEP program, whether you're doing the Master of Science or the Master of Arts, everyone comes together in this first course in developing a sustainability perspective. And the beauty of it is that we hear from people who are more arts oriented or those who are more science oriented. And the students share their knowledge and the background consistently throughout the course to deepen their understanding in various issues that come up through the course. It's very cohort focused. So it's about inquiry learning based on questions and participation in group discussions and dialogues. There are individual assignments, but there's also a group project so that you'll be able to dive deeply into a particular area that you choose that others also choose. So there's a selection of topics available, and if there isn't one that you like, you can always propose that. And if a few other people are interested, then that becomes your topic. So we take a look at the dominant paradigm of what's going on today, and then we look at how we can shift that to a more ecocentric way of seeing and practicing in the world. And out of it, students always come away thinking how excited they are to be part of this program and the future that the environmental field opens to be providing the answers society is looking for. Rob?
Great. Yeah.
Oh,
would you like me to jump in, Leslie?
Okay. So, and then at the end of your degree program, if you choose 600, the practicum, then you get a chance to, as Leslie said, work in an organization that either expands your interest and skills and insights, or goes a little deeper, potentially in an organization you're already working in. And so through that 75 hours of practical experience with a supervisor in a particular organization you develop a relationship with, you then complete that practicum experience. That helps with your resume and gives you new skills.
Thanks, Liza. Rob, would you like to say a word or two about the initial course in the graduate certificate?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, so just as a brief overview, the grad certificate in the Science and Policy of Climate Change has 3 courses. The first one is one that I teach in with my colleague, Dr. Leanne Pyle, and this one is the Science and Impacts of Climate Change. And then the course following that is on climate governance, and then the one following that is a practicum course where you'll work with an organization to I won't go any further than that, but you'll work on an organization around on an initiative around climate change or a project around climate change. So just to give you a sense of the introductory course, the first one, the Science and Impacts of Climate Change, there are 3 things that I want to mention about it. One is it is a very interdisciplinary course. Climate change, it interacts with human and natural systems in a multitude of different ways. So we try and capture that in the course itself. And this means that we cover systems thinking, we cover the science and data around climate change, we cover the scenarios, climate scenarios that you might have heard about in the news that the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change talks about and uses for climate projections. We also cover the interactions between climate change and biodiversity, and even look at things like climate justice and social justice issues around climate change. So we're trying to cover a wide variety of topics just to show how complex this issue is. The next point that I want to mention is that a lot of folks, when they first come into the course, they get a little concerned about the amount of science that's in there. They say, like, do I actually have the qualifications for it? The fact is that we have people from all different backgrounds that come in there. People that might be from a background in journalism, people that might have a background in engineering. So we get a whole wide variety of folks in there. And yes, you do actually have the qualifications to go into this course. We don't shy away from the science. But at the same time, too, you are able to choose and work with different topics that you find interesting. For your main projects, for the things that you'll create presentations around and do a research project around. So in this sense, you will be exposed and engaged in the science, but at the same time too, if you're a little feel like some of these topics are out of your depth, it's okay. We don't like directly quiz you on it. You can choose a topic that you find interesting. That's one that you want to develop your own skills around. And these range quite a bit. So we have people that have done topics around renewable energy transitions, and we've had people that have done topics around, the spiritual dimensions around climate change. So we keep that quite open, and we allow you to explore a topic of your interest. So that's a second point. And the final point I want to mention around it is it's an online course, but we try and make it as engaging and dynamic as possible. So we'll offer office hour sessions where we can meet online. And if you can't make these sessions, you can always make an appointment with me or Leanne, and we'll chat with you at some other point. We also do a lot of group discussions. So we'll do forum discussions so you can chat with your classmates and discuss different topics. In particular, we like to bring in current events to be able to apply your learning to things that are happening now in the real world. So we'll bring some current events and talk about it in the context of the stuff that you're learning in the course. And we have this virtual conference at the end of the course, which is asynchronous because we do respect that you folks might have busy schedules and be in different time zones, but it still allows you to put up a presentation that you did around a topic that you researched on that's related to climate change, and you have your classmates chime in, and you can have a little bit of online discussion about your presentation, sort of like you would have in like a asynchronous academic conference. So yeah, those are the main points that I wanted to make about it. Thanks, Leslie.
I just have a
Thank you.
question for you guys, actually, that's just come through. How does the graduate certificate in Science and Policy of Climate Change integrate experiential learning through the SPCC 616 course?
Yeah, that is the course that is the experiential learning. Thank you for that question. And that's why I really like to have this kind of experiential learning in all of the programs. As Liza and Rob indicated, these programs have both Masters of Science and Master of Arts, but they and the certificate are really one program, because something that I strongly believe is that all people in environmental programs need to know something about science and something about arts and the human dimension. So the experiential learning aspect of it gives you an opportunity to really focus your learning from the two previous courses into real world applications. The title of 616 is Climate Solutions. You may question that title, because I'm not sure we have solutions, but certainly we have actions and ways of addressing climate issues. And so in the 616, as Liza said about 600, students get to choose an organization and a supervisor in that organization. And what you do is you actually help that organization address the aspects of climate change that they are addressing in the organization. And at the same time, the students learn about how that organization is addressing climate change. So it's a really learning-filled experience for the students. It's a short snapshot of a professional action, but students get a tremendous amount from it. I hope that answers your question.
That's
A
great. Thanks, Leslie.
little more maybe than you wanted. Anyway, thank you very much. Those are great. So now we've actually been talking about the graduate certificate. We are nothing if not integrators here. And it's hard to talk about one without talking about the other. Next slide, please. Have you got more on? Yes, usually we have a fast receding glacier as the graphic for this program, but I see we don't have that this time. At any rate, it is a 9-credit graduate certificate offered in partnership with EcoCanada. It's entirely online. Of course, you do your final course, the experiential thing, either online with the organization virtually, or you do it in person with the organization. It's a standalone certificate. You can just take the certificate, or you can take it as part of the MEP. And the great thing is that the courses are also available as electives in many different programs at the university. And in fact, the business programs, the MBA, allows you to take that certificate as 9 credits of that master's program as well. So it's extremely flexible in the way that you approach the graduate certificate. Next slide, please. Okay, so both of these programs are really for environmental professionals that you need an undergraduate degree to take it, although we do have flexible admission for those who might not have the letter of the requirement, who want to move into the burgeoning field of climate science and policy and make a difference in their communities, their workplaces, and the world. Now, a lot of people out there want to transition into the climate field, and I'm hoping that Mark Carney will make a lot of opportunities available to people in the climate field. And climate professionals, people are already working in the climate field, but there are very few, if any, climate credentials. And this is one of the most efficient ways for you to get a climate credential. So we have a lot of people out there working in the field who do not have a credential in the field, and this gives them an opportunity to get that. And again, practitioners who want to earn the professional certification, the EP certification, and attain career advancement through that certification. Mid-career professionals, we get a lot of mid-career professionals in both of these programs. People who are considering a career change, people from international universities, people with relevant work experience, but with no credentials in environment. So again, a very, very flexible program. Next slide, please. Okay, yeah, the graduate certificate is completed in less than a year. As Rob said, the first course is the science and impacts of climate change. The next course is also a great course called Climate Policy and Governance, where you really go into the policy framework and ways of addressing climate change. And throughout these 2 courses, we also focus on the intersections of climate with biodiversity, justice issues, and many other issues, health, for instance. And then, as I said, the final course is Climate Solutions, which is the experiential course. Students work with an organization, community, or First Nation to implement climate solutions. Next slide, please. Rhett, I think we'll go over to you here to talk about how to apply.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good.
There is our glacier.
Yeah, there's the glacier.
At last.
Couldn't leave out the glacier. Yes, maybe a repeat occurrence. Yeah, so here's a slide just with some key dates coming up. So as you can see, we'll have there's more than one intake throughout the year. There's the next one coming up will be for September 8th, and an application deadline June 8th. Following that will be January 5th of next year with a deadline of October 5th. And then for the grad cert, again, same timing, next January 5th, 2026, with the deadline of October 5th. And just an FYI, the deadlines, this is the way that they're advertised on the webpage, but if for some reason, you're still making up your mind and you want to apply after the deadline, we can make that happen. We'll just have to sort of get in touch with you, and we'll just have to kind of work things out so that we can get all the documentation through the system. But if you've missed that application deadline, or you're still wanting to get in, there is a possibility to kind of get in after that deadline. So just get in touch with myself or something like that, and we can usually facilitate that. So next slide, please. Okay, so how to apply. So it's an online application, which you'll do through our web portal online, and you'll need some supporting documents. So you'll have to supply official transcripts from previous education completed. We ask for a detailed resume, and then a personal statement, statement of intent. So kind of just outlining why you think this program is good for you, why you think you'll be successful at it. And so on, and then 2 letters of reference. And generally with those 2 letters of reference, one is usually an academic reference, so perhaps from a former professor that you've had at your previous education, and then the second letter of reference is usually a personal or professional letter of reference. Next slide, please. So we have sort of 2 models for admissions, a standard admission and a flexible admission. For the standard admission, the requirements are normally a 4-year or comparable undergrad degree in a related field with a minimum GPA of a B, which is a 3.0 from a recognized post-secondary institution, and at least 2 years of relevant work or volunteer experience. And then there also is a stipulation where applicants who meet the degree requirement but not the GPA requirement will normally be required to complete a course called academic writing and critical thinking several weeks prior to starting the program and obtaining a minimum final grade of a B. So yeah, so just with that academic writing and critical thinking, it's not a huge course. It's just kind of making sure that when students are coming into the program, they're equipped with just the skills and the necessary abilities for writing, as that's often a challenge for the program. And even sometimes we recommend people who've maybe been out of school for a long time. It's something that we suggest you could take that course prior to coming in, just to sort of sharpen the old resources up before starting a program, maybe relieving anxieties about re-engaging with education if it's been some time off. So but there's always, it's always a good resource, and there's support for taking that course. So
It's an excellent course. Many people brag about this course. It's a continuing ed course, so the fees are not the same as a regular course. I don't know what they are. Do you, Rhett?
I could look it up, and maybe I'll just pop it in the chat before we
Okay,
wrap.
great. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Right, so the other admission pathway is through our flexible admission model, and so the requirements for this would be normally 6 years of relevant work experience or an equivalent combination of education and experience. All flexible admission applicants, again, would normally be required to complete the academic writing and critical thinking course prior to starting the program. And then also, if English is not your primary language, please review our English language requirements. And again, with the flexible admissions, we have people from a variety of backgrounds coming in. So if often we've had people hesitant to apply or this or that because they don't think they'll be able to meet the requirements. But, get in touch with us and have a conversation. And oftentimes you might be surprised at sort of the life experience and work experience you've had that we'd consider for admission. So, definitely reach out and have that conversation with us.
Rhett, can I just add something about that?
Sure.
We say related degree and relevant work experience. It's hard for me to imagine a degree or work experience that is not relevant to the environmental field. Mm-hmm. So I, for one, treat this in a very broad way. So if you think that your experience or your degree is not relevant, think again and talk to us, because I'm sure they are. Thanks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We have students who come in from a wide variety, many different walks of life and academic and life backgrounds for sure. So, okay, next slide. So yeah, services available to you if you might be needing some financial assistance in order to get to help you through the program. We have bursaries, scholarships, other awards available. There's research scholarships that are a possibility, other sources of funding. And if you are a student in the program and, life happens, for some reason, maybe something, some kind of a family emergency comes up or something, there also is emergency funding that can be available to students in exceptional circumstances. And if you have some more questions just on enrollment, admission, and stuff, you can just contact our generic learn.more email, the learn.more@royalroads.ca, or call in through either of those numbers, and you can talk to one of our enrollment representatives. Next slide, please. Okay, Leslie.
Okay, here's my email. Don't hesitate to email me. Email is probably the only way you can get in touch with me. I run at the speed of light, so phoning is not an option. But please email me if you have any questions at all about the program, about applying, about the relevance of your background, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And I hope to see you in these programs. Thank you,
Leslie,
Rob.
we do have a couple questions. Do you want
Oh,
to go
good.
over those?
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. It's actually about the Changemaker
Oh,
campus.
good.
So
Yeah.
we just want a little bit of elaboration. This is Mary from Lac La Biche. She's wondering, can you elaborate on RRU's Changemaker education and how that prepares students to address world problems? How does that work?
You answered the question for me. Thank you very much. So, Royal Roads is one of 5 universities in Canada who are part of an international consortium. We're actually awarded the Changemaker designation because our programs prepare students for creating social change and for solving world and domestic problems. And so those are exactly the criteria for designation of that award of Changemaker Campus. And, you know, what it means is that many of the Changemaker universities get together, it is a network, and talk about better ways of teaching for change. And so I think the environmental field is one reason why we got that designation, because of course we have many, many issues to resolve in the environmental field. And so we need to change society in order to address climate change and to resolve some of these issues. I hope that answers your question. You can look them up. Google Changemaker. It's part of the Ashoka U, ASHOKA, Changemaker Network. Ashoka is from India, of course, and they spearheaded this movement.
And my second question, the last question is there any kind of AI integration into either of these courses since this is on the forefront, this is the
Yes,
future? Is there any kind of that going on in
yes,
either of these?
yes,
Amazing.
there is indeed. And I think AI will change the environmental field
Yes.
in many ways that we have not even begun to imagine. And yes, many professors integrate AI into their teaching. AI is an important consideration in we have an AI policy. We like students to use AI as long as it's acknowledged, and this is part of the traditional university mission, which is to build on the knowledge of others while acknowledging that knowledge. Rob, maybe I'll ask you to answer that question. That's a very good question.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to jump in there. Yeah, thanks, Leslie. So, we haven't actually done it in the this particular course around the science and impacts of climate change, but it is something that I'm considering bringing some AI technologies into assignments because I have done it for other courses, right? And this is not a matter of just using AI to assist yourself in terms of
Right,
writing
a
papers.
paper.
We're actually doing this deliberately in another course. We did. This is a course around sustainable community development. Use ChatGPT to create scenarios for planning, and so these scenarios basically give you narratives in terms of what a community might look like if you were to plan and make progress towards particular objectives. And then what the students did with the scenarios afterwards was say like, okay, let's we got these scenarios, let's kind of maybe work with them a little bit to make them a little bit more appropriate to the community that I'm focusing on right here, and then we'll discuss how useful they are as planning tools. So these are the sort of ways that we're just starting to experiment with the use of AI, just to bring them in as actual tools for looking at how they can be used to support things like climate action and local planning and so forth. So yeah, I'd say stay tuned. We're constantly redesigning and updating the courses, the SPCC courses. So this is likely an assignment they're going to bring in shortly, in if not next year, the year afterwards. Yeah.
Amazing. It's the way of the
I'll
future.
just add, Daniel, I'll just
Yes,
add that
please.
every year Eco Canada has an impact conference. And
Great.
in this past year, I moderated a panel on the use of AI in environmental education. It was a wonderful panel. We all got a lot out of it. And this is all new and exciting. So it's a great topic. Thank you for that question.
Absolutely. And they've snuck one question in here for admissions, and this is coming from Paul. And Paul is asking, for a student with international credentials, do you accept transcripts sent directly from WES, or do you need it sent directly from the university?
Yeah, that might be a question for our admissions. So maybe if I can follow up on that, and if you can give me your email, I just want to make sure I don't give you incorrect information. So yeah, if you can maybe just pop your email in the chat to Danielle, and if you can get that over to me, I can find it with our
Absolutely.
admissions department. Yeah, but I
Absolutely.
mean, generally we have like a lot of international students who come through, and
Mhm.
usually it shouldn't be a challenge. But I'm just not sure on the specific part of your question there.
We'll
Yeah,
get you sorted out, Paul.
we always get admissions files with the credentials being evaluated by that world body. So, but I don't know whether we also require the transcript from the university. So that's something we'll have to find out. Thanks for that question.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for sharing your valuable insights and the information about the certificate and the MEP program at RRU. I mean, your guys' expertise and passion for these programs is truly inspiring. And I really encourage everyone that's on this call to reach out to Leslie and to the admissions and get those questions answered if you have any further questions. This will be recorded and sent to you. So if you have any colleagues or friends that might be interested in the program as well, you can send it on to them. But thank you all for your time, and we will see you the next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks, Liza, for doing it from your sailboat. And thanks, Rob, and thanks, Rhett. And I hope to see you all. Take care.
Take
Thank you,
care.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.